Being married to this man who was a father to me, I would say played a huge role in changing my lifestyle and the road that I was taking. Could if he had to, force me, he would do that. Like when I was growing up, go David dog fairly, where a group of most sometimes even thugs, the known thugs of the township, would organize those dogfuls, and my friend was involved with one of those thugs. And we would go there, and because my husband was somebody that was known throughout the township, somebody would tip him off that, hey, they used to call me schoolgirl. We saw schoolgirl where and would come and, I would try to hide and, and fortunately, this is where I see that, the things of God. Because those thugs could have killed him as well. That day, man, this one, and he didn't even have to say a word. As soon as he got there, everybody would, hey, tapras, hey, funimedi. And they would, and they would chuck me out, and that helped me. And I think I mentioned in the book that in an effort to take me out of the Stockfalls, he ended up having to go with me to Shebeen's as well, because they were different. Yeah. There were ones that were kind of like a little, Shebeen is a Shebeen is a Shebeen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just to make sense, I would say she would take me to a better one.
Yeah,
and you would say, Maro, what is it?
That's fusion music.
Yes.
Not Pantsula.
Yes. So I remember we traveled all the way from Davidton to Soweto. There was one, Barakiko Harowena, that was known, the A team used to drink there. Bokiza Mtaung, Boto, all those known guys were drinking there. And he was also in the soccer thing because he was also running a soccer team. So we would go there, and it was this old man with these young girls at that place. But he felt he'd rather do that so that he takes me away from this rough, that I had really gotten. And that was, to me, I didn't see anything wrong because that's, to me, that was life. And I think added to that was the fact that he was a social worker. So I think he made me his casework.
Oh.
And he worked on me.
Yeah.
And
you were a project, like, I'm gonna get this right.
That I'm going to get this child. Right. I really need to help this child grow. So gradually, and him, being interested in me getting an education also helped. Because, I remember when I was doing matric, when we were writing these trials, I don't know whether they still do it now. These last trials, that's September.
Yes, they still do, yeah.
I didn't go and write. Nikilko Stockfelling in Wardville. He looked for me, he searched for me all over. He had to bribe somebody, and somebody said, no, let me take you where he is. And he found me, relaxed, not even caring about whatever.
So it was still about
yes.
You didn't have that self-love.
Yes.
Now, with the molestation, after all that, you were taken, go next door. The first question is, where was your mother?
My mother was at that time living in Soweto.
Okay.
I started living with my grandparents from when I was 3 months old, because my mom was still a student when she got me. Okay. So I was born in September. In January, my mom had to go back to school. Then I lived with my grandparents. And my parents separated. When they separated, my mother never came for me.
Oh.
So I didn't even know that my grandparents were not my real parents. I didn't know my mother until I was about 8.
Oh. So that was after you've been molested?
Yes.
So you kept staying with the neighbors?
No, with my grandparents.
No. After Being molested?
Yeah, no, I stayed with my
You
grandparents.
came back.
Yes, I stayed. I still stay.
They went to the neighbors
Just to check. Yes.
Okay, so what happened to grandfather? Your relationship then? Were you not scared of him? What was happening?
You know, I was the only child in the house, and my grandfather. I don't know whether to say love is right, because when you love a person, I don't think you could do
That to them, yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
But my grandfather portrayed this picture of love to me.
Afterwards.
You know, even before.
I'm
My
actually interested in the after.
After, yes, everything
After the grandmother had
found out.
So you came back to the same house.
Yes,
lived
and
with him.
them and things just continued.
But
as if,
he never molested you ever again.
no,
Okay.
and nothing stopped. I want to say maybe my grandmother became more vigilant, you know, than before the fact, because my grandfather would actually even bath me
Even after.
before.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm thinking, that it means after that maybe my grandmother, because nothing came out of it, like you know, like, so I think maybe she just decided to be more vigilant and not leave me with him,
Oh.
you know, things, and then that is when my mother came to take me, and that is when I got to know that she was
Your mother.
she was my mother. She removed me from the environment. As to whether she was told about the incident, I do not know.
Sorry, can I just stop you? When your grandfather molested you, did you think it was your father molesting you?
Yes. Because at that time I thought, yeah, they were my parents.
I have a question. Did you at any stage during all these episodes throughout your life up until now felt rejected? And if that is the case, was your life a decision that you, like whatever you've gone through in your life, did you ever decide and say, okay, this part of my life has happened, therefore I'll prove that I can do this? Could that maybe have culminated in you being so inquisitive, wanting to experiment and all that? But I'm just trying to start from the stage where you've realized that your grandparents are not your grandparents. Then didn't you ever ask yourself, why is my mom not here maybe? Or why doesn't she, you know? Because I'm sensing there was an element of being rejected. As a child, you would feel rejected. And often if you feel rejected, you have a tendency of wanting to, you know, to prove a point that if you reject me, then I will do this to prove that I exist. I just wanted to have a sense
That
of
part.
Yes.
I would say to you, I grew up feeling unloved more than anything. I don't know whether being rejected, probably maybe I didn't have a word for that, but love, even if you don't, you know, say this is love, you feel it.
Yeah.
So I just felt like, where am I? I mean, like discovering that you have your real father and you have your real mother. Now, why didn't I also grow up with my mother and my father? Like, so you see, and added to that is that, remember all these things, you're not talking to anybody, you know. So they're just question marks in your life. And they're adding up to the confusion that comes with it.
I also want to check, at what age did you start talking about it, and who was the first person that you spoke to about it,
About which part?
about the molestation?
I spoke about the molestation when I was in jail.
For the first time.
For the first time when I wrote my first play. And I acted it out. And after acting it out, I said, this is my story. I didn't prepare any person that what I was going to act about. Everybody thought I had just penned up this play. Then I said, well, I just want to let you know that that was not a play. That is my life.
So your husband never knew about this?
No, he went to the grave without knowing that I had been molested, I had been raped several times,
And your kids,
even my children.
they only realized it after.
After the fact, when I came back, it's only then realizing that it was going to come out, then I started telling them that I was molested and I was raped and all that for the first time.
Yo, some of us are doing this thing. Yo, Mrs. Lily.
I don't know. I wanted to ask when it happened for the second time and for the third time. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What was going on in your mind? Was it the thing, you felt that I'm rough like that? This can happen to me? Or did you feel anything wrong with when you got raped for the second time? Or did you continue to feel that because I'm this nothing, no one loves me, this has to happen to me?
I felt like that because when I got raped, I was raped by my friend. You know, we were both students, go at the boarding school, go on Skekan. And it was a person like, you know, I was so used to. We used to dodge together and go and drink and go to the shebeens in the township. So when it happened, actually when he started, I thought he was joking. You know, until she became, you know, a very extremely aggressive and started assaulting me and raped me. And it kind of like took out that thing that, yeah, I'm really not a worthy person. You know, no one, I mean, this has to happen to me. This is just who I am, you know. And that really killed something inside of me. Yeah, part of me died. And the teachers as well, you know, they would want to get away around sleeping with you. And it was kind of like, and everybody just looking at me and seeing a person to have sex with more than anything. And that really made me not be able to love myself because I just felt, you know what, I don't think I'm anything to love. I just died inside. A hole inside of me to a point where I was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter anymore. Yeah.
And would you say having what do you ascribe that to? I think I've asked you this question before. Why do you think, as you make peace with it, why do you think it happened to you more than once?
I wouldn't have really been able to understand that. But this is what happened when I was in jail. I had a very good relationship with the chaplain, Pastor Relly. God bless his soul, he passed on. And that was after the play. He passed on after I had staged this play about myself. And we, you know, Pastor Ronnie would just come and would have talks and, you know, joke and everything. And he talked to me like he's not really addressing my situation, but then he talked about spirits to me and how foul spirits attract foul, you know, and he made an example with my situation without saying to me, you see, like, what happened to you, this. But after I spoke to Pastor Ronnie and reflected, Pastor Ronnie was like that. You know, he'd come and he'd talk about something, and when we are alone, you'd be like, wow. You know, that's how he ministered to you. He was so practical. And I realized that Pastor Ronnie was talking about me and to me about my situation. Because that's one thing I used to ask myself, that especially when it happened for the second time. I'd gone with my cousin to visit in Pretoria, and I ended up being raped by a very old man. So I was like, why? This is where I wanted to kill myself, because I was like, why is it happening to me? And I never got the answer. So it's when Pastor Ronnie talked about spirits attract, foul spirits attracting, that I realized that, wow, you know, what my grandfather did to me years ago left a mark in me. No wonder when people look at me, they just, you know, because we'd go to a place, it would be 5 of us, women, and we'd go to a place and there would be 5 guys. Believe you me, 4 of the 5 of them would pursue me. You know? So it means I was always attracting that spirit. People just saw me as a sex object when they looked at me, because of the spirit that was lying in me.
Within
Yeah.
And this spirit, I just want us to be very clear so that we can all understand. This spirit, this bad spirit, as it now become part of you and you walk with, was it because you were raped before that you had that spirit, or maybe let me just say, how did then that spirit attach itself to you?